Hello, everybody. This is Chris Angel here again with Glenn Close back here with the plate with Glenn and Chris.
I'm gonna need you to do that again.
No, that's it. That's our take.
Hi, everybody. It's the Dissertation Ben with
That's
Tate and Ben.
This is Tate. Don't ever call me Tate. That's gross.
Guys, if you're listening at home, it is currently 10:30 at night.
And Ben's being a baby.
I am being a baby because in a perfect world that I live in, I would be in bed right now.
Me too.
So,
But somebody wanted to record tonight.
absolutely not. Somebody gave somebody else two options, and somebody picked this option and then decided to dilly-dally and eat a full 3-course meal in front of me while I'm sitting here starving.
It was beautiful, wasn't it?
It looked really good.
Yeah.
You guys did a great job. Specifically, Nev. You did okay.
Nev did do great. Nev always does.
She really does.
Yeah.
What the heck did you do today? You were running around like a crazy person. You also spilled a lot of water all over yourself.
What did I do today? No, I just ran around a bunch, and I went to the gym.
We had very busy
And
days.
I injured my back, and it was great. And then I just hung out, and then we went to the mall.
Yeah, you did a lot of shopping.
We shopped our hearts out.
Mm-hmm.
And then,
I don't think Nana's ever drank water before. And
Probably
this is
not.
like her first time tasting it. And now she's supping upon it.
Bernice, my baby, I love you. Yeah, so we shopped our hearts out. And
Stop touching it.
And and then we went to Whole Foods
Nice.
where we purchased some items, and then I
You got me a present.
cooked some chicken and some steak for myself and Eveline, and she made some beautiful white sweet potato.
Yeah,
mashed
Japanese
potatoes.
sweet potato mashed potatoes, which you're not a sweet potato gal,
I like
but they're
those.
really
They're
turning
good.
you on to them, which is sick.
And then we had baked acorn squash, which was delicious.
Deirdre's recipe.
Deirdre's recipe. Deirdre. And yeah, that was it. And then I ate it in front of you, like you said. I also got you ice cream because
You
I'm a good
did.
friend, and you're
I'm
not
gonna-
telling everybody the whole story.
I said you got me a treat. I was letting you say it.
Not everything is the way it seems, everybody.
It sounds like it.
And that was it. And then you came over, and my day suddenly got a lot worse than it was. And
Tell me about
just
it.
kidding. That was good.
I had to set an alarm
was
on my
great
phone
to
to
see you.
remind myself to come over
It
to
was
your
good seeing
house.
you today. What about you, Blengerman?
Woke up earlier than usual. My daddy picked me up, and we went to go pick up his motorcycle. It's been being held hostage for 4 years, and we said not anymore. So we went and picked that up, drove it back to his house.
How many people did you kill, like, to get the to steal the bike?
Only like 3 or 4. That last one was in like a shoddy kind of way
It was his
about
fault,
him.
probably. Yeah.
We didn't really know how he took it by the
Right.
time we left. So
Yeah, exactly.
he's in the Lord's hands now.
the Lord.
Yeah, and then I got home, immediately got ready for work, went to work, stayed at work for all day, and then came home, ate some dinner, came over, foolishly assumed we'd be filming a podcast before 10:30 at night. Silly turkey. Silly turkey.
Silly Torku.
And then I started filming a podcast with my best friend. And yeah, that's all I did today. I'm very excited for the weekend. I'm very excited to go to bed. I'm very tired right now. The movie that we're talking about today, guys, we're kicking off our Halloween marathon.
I saw you in my tooth.
That's cool. Oh, you got a big something in your tooth, sis. Wowie zowie. Oh, you might need to go take care of yourself. Maybe you want a mirror. Maybe you'd like a mirror and perhaps a toothpick. It looks like you're missing one of your teeth. Did you get in a bar fight? Did somebody clock you one? Smile real big for me. Yes. I would give you my knife, but it doesn't have a point anymore. Let Benjamin see. How did you do that?
I get it.
It's gone. It's completely gone. Award-winning smile.
Let's go, dude. All right. Let's go.
Okay, we're doing our Halloween marathon like we usually do. We're posting every Monday in the
Marathon.
month of October.
Right.
This is the first week we're doing it. This is October 7th, coming to you live on October 7th, or any other day that you want to listen to it. And the movie we're going over is called
Is Radio.
Cure. No, it's called A Cure for Wellness.
With Cuba Gooding.
No,
Cuba.
It's a movie that came out in 2016. I really have wanted to watch this movie ever since it came out. This is one of the few movies that I chose for this list because Chase has like a control issue.
Right.
And I really wanted to watch it, and we watched it, and we had to do it in 2 parts because it is 2 hours and 26 minutes long.
It's a cool 2-hour 26 movie. It
And
feels like it too.
neither of us were really expecting it to be that long because we started watching it. We got about an hour and a half into it, and then we paused it to see how far we went, and we were like,
We're like, what is
oh
it?
no. So we had to split it up into 2 nights, but I'm glad we did because it's kind of a wild movie. It's a slower burn,
Yeah.
but it's a really good burn. I think
good.
it's got a good payoff.
I thought it was good, yeah.
I kind of figured it out pretty quickly, about halfway through what was going on, and then a lot of it did still surprise me, and it really took that turn. Right now, it's not currently streaming on anything, but if you ask really nicely, we'll lend you the Blu-ray.
Speaking of which, my Blu-ray didn't come today again.
That's so annoying.
I know.
We're mixing it up a little bit, and we're having in 2 weeks we have a new movie that we're gonna watch and record about. We'll talk about it later. But Chase tried to buy a bootleg copy on eBay, and
not
it still
true.
hasn't come.
It's not a bootleg copy. It just doesn't have a case.
Yeah, it's just a
caseless,
loosey goosey disc.
But I don't use the cases. I use those like CD binders that you use in the 90s.
You are a true '90s kid with that.
So yeah, I didn't even need the case. It was $10, and I was like, yeah, I'm buying it. Then obviously, like,
Yeah, homeboy took your $10, dog.
yeah, he might have.
He just might have.
He might have even taken my $2 for shipping that I paid, which would be even more catastrophic.
If you
I
don't
think.
stop touching the mic arm,
just
I'm
not
gonna
sitting right
physically
for me right now.
assault you.
It's just not sitting right for me right now.
It's not sitting right in your soul.
Yeah, everybody heard it. I have the control issues.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
I think I've said all I need to say. You need to give us a synopsis of this movie. Stats.
Stantopist. Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
Stantonpist. Okay. An ambitious young executive is sent to retrieve his company's CEO from an idyllic but mysterious quote-unquote wellness center at a remote location in the Swiss Alps, but soon suspects that the spa's treatments are not what they seem.
One quick note about the spa. It is
Spa.
the most
It's a
aesthetically pleasing. It's a sanitarium.
It's a sanitarium, yeah.
but it is probably the most gorgeous piece of real estate I've ever seen in my life.
It is beautiful. It's a cool building.
It's huge. It's vast. It's sprawling. There's like an entire sauna floor where there's just like saunas all over the place. Floor to ceiling tile work. Tiles on the floors, tiles on the ceilings. It's
Tiles
so
in the
cool.
corners.
Yeah, they have rounded edges. There's not like a corner in the top or bottom
really
of the wall.
classy.
It's all rounded. It's so
classy
cool.
place.
It's a gorgeous movie to watch.
Yeah,
I've decided
it's
that I
pretty.
want to stop like looking into like directors that I like because they're important, but I really want to start paying attention to cinematographers that I like.
Yeah, that's cool.
Cinematographers are generally in charge of like the lighting and like kind of like the overall like appearance of the movie. So I think they have a little bit more to do with the aesthetics than the director that I like. So I want to start like kind of like figuring out who the cinematographer is of movies that I like, and I'm going to start
That's a good
trying
idea.
to search them out. I think
Yeah,
that'd be cool.
That's a good idea.
A couple fun facts about A Cure for Wellness from 2016. This movie was filmed at the Castle. Okay, there's a lot of German words, and it's been a while since I've taken
Let's
German.
do it, dude.
So everyone be gentle with me. I'm going to say this in an American accent. Hohenzollern in, this is such a German word, Hechingen, Germany. The building of the sanatorium, is originally located in, oh my gosh, Belitz, Heilstätten.
Ooh, that doesn't sound safe to say.
Yeah, it's an old tuberculosis clinic. During World War I, many injured. Was Hitler part of World War I or World War II?
Too. I'm sure he was alive for one. I don't know. I'm not really sure. I don't know.
I didn't fact check these facts. During World War I, many injured soldiers stayed here, including Adolf Hitler. I'm assuming he was a
might have
soldier
fought.
during one,
Yeah.
and then kind of
Yeah, I think-
rose through the ranks for two. The building itself and the area around it have been completely renovated after being in ruin for decades. 750 windows comprising of 1,000 square meters of glass, 350 doors, 1,200 square meters of walls, and many other things had to be replaced or repaired to restore the original look of the building. So this was a physical building that they shot in, and they had to basically redo the entire thing to bring it back to what it looked like, which they did an impeccable job because it looks
It looks amazing.
gorgeous.
Yeah, it does.
52 minutes into the movie, a ring reflection is visible in the water tank as the lid closes. It resembles the signature image from the well in the movie The Ring, from
cool.
2002, which was also made by Gore Verbinski. Gore Verbinski was the director of this movie. Fun fact, pop quiz. You already know the answer to it, so I'm just going to say it. Gore Verbinski also directed the Pirates of the Caribbean movies, at least the first three.
Yeah. Oh, really? Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't know about those last two. They get
What's his
really-
name? Gore Verbinski.
Gore Verbinski.
Gore Verbinski. That's a
They
really nice
really
name.
wanted to set him up for success when they named him that.
Gore. Gory.
Gore?
Gore.
What is that short for?
Goliath.
Goliath.
Yeah.
Goliath.
Goliath.
Okay.
That's what it is. Hey, I don't know. I don't make the rules, man. I don't make the names up. I just
This was also the first horror movie for a young actress named Mia Goth. She is now known for Pearl, X, Maxine, and she's in the
Right.
Suspiria remake.
Yeah.
So she really, I think she might have,
Yeah.
this might have been like her first movie, but it's for sure her first horror movie, thriller.
She's in a lot of horror movies.
Yeah, she's kind of like one of the new Scream Queens for sure, which is great.
Yeah. Thank you, Darlene.
There's movement in the kitchen.
Thank you, darling.
Oh my goodness, yeah. What's the matter with you, dude? We're recording so late. Do you want to hit us with part one here? Tell us what's going on.
Part one. I don't like this. Part one. Morris, who is played by none other than Craig Rowe, dies from a heart attack while working late in his office.
He does have a really hard time.
He does, yeah. He immediately does, and they touch on that later.
Yeah.
But anyways, they kind of like talk about this guy, Mr. Lockhart. He's played by Dane DeHaan. And
Very odd looking person, and I love his aesthetics.
he is very normal looking in a disturbing way. Yeah, it's like a weird.
He has an odd face. He plays Harry Osborn in The Amazing Spider-Man 2.
in the Amazing Spider-Man 2.
Yeah, and he's also
that
the
the
Green
one with-
Goblin or the Hobgoblin. That's
Who
Andrew
is-
Garfield.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
He's gross as the Hobgoblin.
What time period in his life is the Andrew Garfield ones?
What do you mean?
Like, is he in high school?
He's in high school, yeah.
Oh, yes,
He
okay.
graduates high school in the second movie.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
He
Flash,
looks like he's 37.
Well, that's the thing. Flash, the bully, fully looks 40. It's like, okay, dude.
Yeah,
What's
I
this
love
grown ass man doing in this high school?
That is pretty strange.
I think it's
Yeah.
funny nowadays, like when I'm like an adult. Also, I never thought that was always my issue with the Breakfast Club. I was like, what are all these full grown adults doing at detention in high school? Like, they are peers of their principal. Why
Yeah,
are they
that's
there?
true. I don't know.
I guess I'm just at the point in my life now where I feel like,
You're just ornery now.
yeah, that's it.
Okay, so, anyways, basically, they go to this employee. He's like an ambitious employee. He's like working hard. He's young and he wants to like work his way to the top, right? He's kind of like unempathetic. He's really like
He's very
administrative.
Yeah,
you know
he's
what I mean?
very cut.
He has
and
no
dry.
problem like hurting someone's feelings or like saying
yeah.
something that needs to be said to someone. He's just like that kind of guy. Anyways, they stand him. They send him out like on a job, basically to find an employee that went missing, Mr. Pembroke.
The CEO of
He's
the company.
Ronald. Or
Ronald
Roland.
Pembroke.
Or is it Roland?
Roland.
and he's at this quote unquote spa, which is not a spa, but
Hey,
it
spoiler
feels
alert,
like,
dude.
well, there's a lot of spa aspects about it. Like,
Yeah.
like we kept looking at it and we kept saying to ourselves, like, if things weren't like weird, it would be sweet to be there.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, it looked really dope.
Yeah.
But basically, like, he takes on this job. He goes out there. It kind of flashes to him and his mom passing away. His mom like passed away and gave him like a little ballerina toy, and like he keeps it with him, like as like it's like one of those like ones. What are those called?
Like a music box?
It's it's a music box. It's like a
Yeah.
Russian ballerina one where it like
Yeah.
yeah. So it's like the little person, the little
Yeah, she like hand painted
Minifigure, if you
Yeah,
will.
minifigure.
It is kind of like a minifigure. It's not. Yeah.
I mean,
Um,
for all intents and purposes.
and he keeps that, and he goes basically to this sanatorium with that, that and kind of a false sense of an idea of like what this actually is and what he's going to be dealing with.
Yeah, he thinks he's just
You know
gonna
what
like
I'm
go
saying?
in there,
Yeah.
show up, and be like, "Hey, I'm taking Pembroke. We gotta go. Like, let's
Right.
go." Like,
It's
he's
kind of
done.
like it's pretty like apparent right away. Like, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, yeah. So he gets there and basically like it's a beautiful campus. It's like old. It's like timeless. You can tell it has a lot of history, and they share the history with him, which is basically like the person that ran this. Like they like burned him alive.
Yeah,
and
they're
he
really
died,
bummed
and
on
they like
him.
killed his wife and like took her baby out of her, and like it was like a whole thing.
Yeah.
So it's like a really intense story. And you're like, wow, that's really crazy. And they're basically like, we made this hospital like good again, and like everything's fine. And you're
Yeah.
kind of like, this seems like really like too good to be true.
Sometimes there's like too much darkness in an area to like get rid.
Something-
Like, it's
yeah.
just a little too much.
It's interesting too, though, to me, because like the thing that I like about movies like this is like they build tension without doing anything really.
Oh yeah.
And you just can feel it. Like, eventually something is something just isn't right. Like, you kind of, it almost makes you feel like them.
Oh,
Because
100%.
they feel, like, you would think they would think, like, yeah, like, they're really nice, but, like, I don't know, dude. Like, something about this is just, like, my, like, hairs on the back of my neck are standing up. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know.
No, for sure.
And I think we all think that way. So, like, when you watch it, you're like, this is, like, a little weird. But nothing is really happening. Like, face value, like, it's normal. Really.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But they're, like, just kind of building that up for you. And that's kind of, like, what they do in the first, like third of this movie.
For sure.
Is, like, they really get you to go there. So he basically just goes there as a guest and, like, introduces himself. And, like, that's just, like, how he is. Like, they give him, like, a little room to stay in and, whatever. Right? So, which kind of leads me to a small little PQ.
Pop quiz?
Pop quiz.
Pop it
quiz.
off,
Pop quiz.
sis.
I'm going to hit you with a little light one first.
Oy
We're just going
vey.
to start light. We're going to start light. We're going to start light.
Go ahead.
Okay. By what year did they confirm that no more of these sanatoriums, quote unquote, existed in the United States?
Oh gosh.
The A is going to be 2003. Now, keep in mind this, because this is interesting. So, because when I was reading about this, what it said is like they started closing most of these in between 1960s and 80s.
Okay.
Okay. So this is the last confirmed one ever. You know what I mean? Okay. So A is 2003. B is 1996. C is 2008. Or D is 2015.
Oh gosh. I think generally anytime they have to like do something like this, like kind of like broad spectrum shut stuff down, I feel like it takes a lot longer than you'd think. Like
Sure.
there's just like a lot of just like hassle with it. I'm gonna say it was A 2006. I think it
It
like
was
took
2003.
2003. It was 2003. I think it like took a while because like 2003 is like recent enough where it's like, yeah, that was gross. I think it was 2003.
No.
Oh no.
One more guess.
Is it 2015?
It's 2015.
That's disgusting.
Isn't that crazy?
That
Yeah.
really bums me
Yeah,
out.
isn't that weird?
Ew.
Yeah. Now, I don't know, though, like, if that means, like, what capacity was it running as? Like, was it really, like, the same as it was in, like,
Any
the 60s?
capacity,
don't know.
I think, is not good.
Right,
Yeah.
for sure. But so 2015, it was confirmed that there were no more.
Oh, gross.
Yeah.
That's yucky uckas, dude.
I know.
Ugh. Any kind of like forced, I'm not going to say rehabilitation because this isn't rehabilitation, but like anything like this where it's like, hey, you're not well, we're going to take care of you.
Don't worry.
And like all these ulterior motives and like,
People are just so happy too, and it's like, I don't know.
well, yeah, it kind of like, I mean, I'm tiptoeing on the line of like conversion camps, like conversion therapy. Like it's like super not okay.
Right,
And like
yeah.
really gross places that do like really lasting horrible damage
heinous
to
stuff,
people.
yeah.
So it's just, excuse me. I'm watching a show right now and one of the characters has to go to a he goes to a facility to help him with an eating disorder. He has an eating disorder. And he finds out he has OCD and stuff like that. And like obviously this is 2024, so it's a very positive experience for him, luckily. And like there's still a lot of stigma around it though, but he was like really nervous. He like did Googling the night before and they were like, my nightmare at a facility and all this stuff. And like I think it's still like, depending on how you go into it, it can be like a horrible thing.
Oh, yeah.
But also sometimes it takes that full immersion. But obviously like sanatoriums, like
No. Yeah.
the medical staff there are just horrible. Like,
Yeah, and we'll get into that too with our next couple pop
Oh,
quizzes.
thank God.
So, yeah, don't worry. I'll give you something good to sleep on tonight.
something to chew
Yeah.
on the way home.
Excuse me. Are we boring you?
Very much so.
Wow.
On to part 2. So Lockhart finally finds Pembroke at the spa. He basically has to kind of be tricky because he keeps asking like, where's Pembroke? Where's his room? What is he doing? And like no one's giving him information at all. So he's having to like basically kind of sneak around, lie about who he is, trying to get to him. He ends up going into like a sauna, this huge sauna, and he's like going around, he's getting lost in the rooms, and he ends up going into a room that's like completely walled off. Like he goes into it and then there's no opening or closing, there's no way to get out. So he just starts kind of like losing his mind a little bit. Finally he finds Pembroke and is like, hey, like we need to go, like we need to like figure this out. And Pembroke is just like so like kind of dissociated and is just like, hey,
He's on another planet. I mean,
yeah, he's
just
like, I'm here,
yeah.
I'm becoming well, I need to stay here and do my like treatment basically.
Yeah.
But it's obvious to Lockhart. He's like, you're not good. Like, we need to get out of here. And just like Pembroke is refusing to leave. He's just like, listen, I'm here. We're doing this. Like, this is just what has
and
to
what's
happen.
interesting too is like all these people, like they're all like, I need treatment. I'm ill. They can't tell you what they have.
Yeah, it's just like,
it's
we're
like
looking
they're
for the
like, oh,
cure.
I have this. Yeah.
They keep saying
But
that.
to-
They
and
always
it's
say
like
we're
to
looking for the
what?
cure.
Yeah.
It's
like
exactly.
it's just vague.
So vague.
Yeah.
Basically Lockhart hears this and kind of has to try to regroup. So he ends up leaving the facility, but on his way out from the facility, he gets into like a really bad car crash. Like the car flips a bunch of times. And he wakes up 3 days later and he's in the spa. Like they basically admitted him pretty much against his will.
Well, I mean, they had to save him technically.
Well,
At the
yeah.
time, you think like, I mean, there's no other. If you're there, right?
Yeah.
Like, they're gonna help you. of
Yeah,
course,
they have doctors. One of the doctors being Dr. Vollmer, played by Jason Isaacs, who, if you don't know, he plays
Lucius.
Lucius Malfoy.
Yeah.
And Lockhart starts to kind of notice some like weird shit happening there. Like one, he wakes up and his entire right leg from like mid thigh down is in a cast. Like
Long
can't
cast,
move it.
yeah.
Has to walk around on crutches. So like while he's kind of experiencing life day to day at the spa, he starts like noticing really weird shit. One of the weirder pieces is Lockhart discovers like a parasitic creature in the water. Like throughout this whole process, staying hydrated and drinking this water is very like important to the healing process. The doctors
It's very
never say-
encouraged.
Yeah, they're like, oh, you need to stay really hydrated. This water has healing properties. You
Yeah,
know, it's in the
super,
Swiss
super
Alps.
encouraged.
You'd think it's like, oh, you know, it's this beautiful, you know, place. I really want to, you know, it's like Fiji water, or like what's the water that come from the mountains?
Fiji.
Mountains of Fiji?
Ice Mountain.
Oh, Ice Mountain.
I don't know, dude.
I don't know. It's just like glacial water, and they're like, oh, it's really good for you. It has healing properties. You need to drink it. But like one of the first times he drinks it, he like looks down at the water, and there's a little swimmer in there, and he said, "No, thank you, ma'am." So he starts kind of noticing that. He starts meeting other patients, and they're all very kind of like up in the air. They're very kind of like dazed. They're all just kind of like, oh yeah, we're all here. We're here for the cure. You gotta stay. It's for the cure. And they're just really kind of just like, yeah, just in this really weird like mindset basically.
Yeah, they're just in a trance.
Very trance like.
Yeah.
Don't step on me. And then throughout Lockhart meeting all of the other patients, he ends up meeting a patient named Hannah, who is played by Mia Goth. And she takes these like special vitamins. Like she has this vial with a dropper, and every so often she'll like take the dropper.
Tincture.
Yeah, a little tincture in her mouth. Doesn't she have like, isn't it like a little Coke spoon that she wears around her like neck, or is that the tincture?
It looks like a little blue, like glass, like little vial.
Blue vial. Yeah. Ew. Never mind.
But I will say too, though, because this is important too, for me at least. But
Papa.
Lockhart is also getting exposed to like a lot of treatments.
Yeah.
Like while this is happening, so he's like getting a lot of treatments that like patients are getting just to heal, quote unquote, and like for him to be okay. And a lot of these, you kind of can see this like. There's an ominous like nature to all of the things that they put him in. Like again, it's like the same thing. On one hand, they're perfectly harmless and they like would be cool, but for some reason, like it's like, ooh, something bad can happen here.
Definitely. It's like I'm actually about to get to it.
Okay.
During one of the treatments, Lockhart is in like this huge water tank. He's just like stripped down. He's got all these sensors on him, and they put him in this like water tank. I'm assuming it's like salt water to kind of like mimic weightlessness. They fill the tank. It's like huge. It's like a giant silo basically. And they fill the tank completely with water, like all the way to the top. It's probably 2 to 3 stories tall.
Right. Yeah.
So he's just at the bottom. He's got oxygen. He's just in the bottom. He's in this tank. It's like all dark. And then out of nowhere, these like eels just like show up.
A ton of them.
Like
100 of them. Yeah.
And they start like swimming around his body. He starts freaking out. He loses his oxygen. He tries to get up to the top. The door on the top is locked. He's like banging on the window. Nothing's happening. The guard that's like watching him, not guard, like the person who's supposed to be like monitoring his vitals is
attendant,
like,
yeah.
I'll let you guys watch it for yourself, but it's a very disturbing scene where
It's
he's
very
just
suspenseful.
like, he's really kind of enjoying himself and his time with his coworkers.
Yeah.
And, finally.
Oh, yeah, I forgot.
Yeah. Basically, Lockhart ends up like drowning.
Yeah.
They get him out at the last second. They, get all the water out of him, and he's like just losing it. He's like, I was in there. No one was helping me. Like, this is crazy. This shouldn't be like this. Like, why is this happening? And he's just really kind of like, really getting suspicious about the practices. He's like, my leg is broken. Why are we doing this? Like,
Right.
why are we getting into this like psychoanalyzing all this nonsense? Like, this is getting too much.
Yeah.
So he really starts kind of like drawing the line and trying to figure
out.
out what's going on. Yeah.
This is a really good time for a pop quiz.
For a pop quiz? Hit me with it.
Are you ready for this one?
I'm going to do my best. This one I'm going to get right first try.
I know, I can tell. I like when you do that. It makes me happy when you do that. It makes me proud of you that you can do that.
Thanks, Dad.
All right, so ready? Here we go.
Soy.
Early asylums were known for their use of hard treatments. Which out of the following list didn't happen?
Oh, gosh.
Here we go. Are you ready?
Hopefully I've heard of some of these.
Here comes A. Isolation from other patients, even family members, for extended period of times extending up to 6 months to a year apart.
Okay.
B. Patients were whipped with wet leather straps while being suspended from the ceiling
My God.
if misbehaved. C. Experimenting on patients, testing radical treatments and procedures on them.
Okay.
And D, this is just funny because it's like the movie, it kind of focuses really hard on stuff like this. Hydrotherapy. Patients were submerged in cold water baths for hours or wrapped in cloth and sprayed down with cold water.
So here's my thinking behind this.
So we have A, isolation. B, patients were whipped. C, experimenting on patients. D, hydrotherapy. And this is the most common stuff.
Yeah. Isolation absolutely happened. There was like well-documented cases. I mean, it still happens like today with
Solitary confinement?
solitary confinement, everything like that. I think that's definitely something that they would use.
Sure.
I've heard of hydrotherapy and like shocking the system with cold water. It can be used to reset the system. It can be used to like make connections between unwanted habits and like that pain of the cold water to try to help it kind of flush from your system. So I think that happened. And there's absolutely well-documented cases of experimentation of like treatments and like everything like that for people that are kind of locked away in this thing. So I am certainly hoping that they were not beating the patients with wet leather straps and suspending them from the ceiling. So please tell me I'm right.
You are correct.
Thank God.
But the reason I put that on there is because there is a related thing that they would do with wet leather straps. Where they would like basically wet leather straps secure a patient, and as the leather would dry, it would tighten.
Oh.
So they could tighten the leather more than they could when it was not wet. So then they would make it tighter on them. So like over time, it would.
When leather can cut through you easy. That's horrible.
Yeah.
Really quick, we're going to move on to part 3, but I have to change the power adapter because it's about to die. I don't have another battery. I'm going to try a different power adapter. You might lose us for a second. Let's see how this goes. Sorry about that. Quick little cut. We should be good to go.
Yeah. So, so anyways, like basically we are exposed to these like crazy treatments. These like very radical,
like so unnecessary things for what happened to him.
Right. And and this kind of stuff with the eels, it just seems really like dogma-y, like really like ritualistic, like just like really like culty weird.
There's a lot of like eel imagery all over the place. Yeah,
it's super weird. It's like a pagan-y, like it's like it feels like really like just like occulty.
Yes, very much so.
Yeah. And basically Lockhart, he's kind of a crafty little fella.
He really is.
Because he's, anytime he's alone, he's roaming and he's searching. He's just kind of aimlessly going, but he's just kind of finding clues and figuring out, like, why are they keeping me away from this guy that I'm, like, being literally paid to come and get?
Yeah.
I don't feel like sick. I don't feel like bad, but they're telling me that I need treatment for things. He's still like got his voice and sense of reason.
He's got his wits about him.
Yeah, so like he's fine. So like that's what's happening, and as he like continues to comb the rest of the campus for clues, he really starts to learn about like the history of this place. He kind of like starts realizing too, like he just kind of like keeps doing the stuff where he'll stumble down something and then he's like, oh my god, and like he
really stumbles into
like
a lot.
He like goes into like a basement that turns into like a dungeon that turns into like a cave with like water, like beautiful water, and then like sees like this guy like feeding like all the dead old people to the eels, and like it's just this whole thing. And it's so funny because like it seems like every time he does this kind of stuff he gets caught. It's like they always like know where he is.
Yeah.
It's like he only has like an hour to like really do something before they find him. So he has to go like different places each time and deal with like whatever punishment he is subjected to.
Yeah.
Which like the punishments are like range from like him being like locked in his room to like him getting like teeth pulled and like getting like beaten up, and
that's
like,
wild.
Like, it's like it gets pretty bad. You know what I mean? Like pretty fast.
Yeah.
So he kind of does all that. Once he learns all that, it's kind of gnarly because like basically like he gets captured again, and like the main doctor Dr. Lucius Malfoy, if you will, gets him like and basically puts him in essentially. It looks like an iron lung to me. I don't know why
it's fully an iron lung. I don't know.
Yeah, that's weird. So he puts him in like an iron lung which is like I don't know if the people are listening. If you've never seen an iron lung. They're very, very. No, the last person that was ever in it, I think, died. That guy. We don't use them anymore. They're not a thing, but they're huge, and they're as long as the table that we are using right now, which is a 9-foot table. And and you stay in it forever. And basically, it's like this steel chamber.
Yeah.
That like you just like, yeah, it's really crazy. Anyways, he puts him in that, and then he forces this like 4 to 5 foot tubing down his throat, which is
Yeah.
like an inch wide too. It's huge.
It's gnarly.
He also
He's,
like
slit
not to be
going
like this,
through
but
his throat.
it's not like he like lubricates or anything. He just
Nope,
throws
dry.
it down, dude. It
Yeah.
would crush your
Ooh,
esophagus.
it hurt so
Yeah,
badly.
it would be so terrible. He gets it way down, more down, like down
Like
to the
straight
bottom of
into
his
the
stomach.
stomach,
Yeah,
yeah.
right. And he just starts feeding him eels, and eels are like
Yeah.
going into his stomach.
Tiny
and,
little eels with like the water they're swimming in. Yeah.
it was so.
I mean, the
squirmy,
reason
right? Like-
he does it though, he basically explains like there is this like these vitamins, like this like medicine that comes from these eels, and the only way that they can distill it is by like using the human body, basically.
Yeah,
They
and there's
get,
like a
put in
little
here.
like grease trap underneath them.
Basically, yeah, a little drip from it.
and
yeah.
it captures all this essence.
Yeah, so they're
right.
they're like using these humans to distill these vitamins. We still don't really know what they're for, but basically like force feeding him these eels and then using his body as a means to like distill this medicine. And that's what everyone's kind of like taking in the little vials, like all the important people are.
Yeah.
So it's like basically gets to the point where like shit, like Lockhart's like really in it now. Like he's Dunzo the clown. But continue, so sorry.
Yeah, so basically, like, this is some weird stuff going down, basically. And it kind of, like, forces him, like, in this, like, weird, like, he's kind of in the trance.
Yeah,
He's bought the pudding, like he's figured it, he's just like, really
Yeah.
believed his stuff.
And the word I used is fugue state. I think you were trying to dance around that word.
Yeah, I was like, yeah.
Fugue state. Yeah, it's like a very dissociated kind of like very like kind of faux peaceful
Aloof.
way they were doing it
Yeah.
before, yeah.
And you are kind of like discouraged when you watch it because like, oh, they got him. Like,
got
this
him.
is like,
He's
this
done,
sucks.
yeah.
And that would probably happen realistically. Like,
But thank God there's still another half hour to the movie.
yeah, And basically, like, Hannah ends up coming up to him and realizing that he is like that, and she
Yeah.
hands him this little ballerina that he gave her, that was his mom's, earlier as a gift. And it kind of, you think, at least, because we talked about this, that it kind of snapped him out of it. Like, it kind
A
of,
little
he
bit,
remembered
yeah.
what about his real identity as a person was, right?
Exactly.
So he just kind of, like, realizes that and regains his clarity. And he just kind of discovers, too, that Lucius Vollmer, Dr. Vollmer, if you will, is the Baron, which is the bad guy that got burned.
Yeah, the Baron
and
who
he
was, like,
survived,
performing all
but he
of
got really
these, yeah.
burned, like really bad, especially
Yeah.
his face. And he, his Hannah is his daughter through incest with his own sister.
Yeah.
And he basically like tries to keep like Hannah basically, I don't want to get into it too much, but basically Hannah just goes through some stuff, and then like he gets pretty sexually aggressive with her.
He's trying to like
And-
continue their bloodline.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
And like so
he's being very weird. And
that's
very
one of the main reasons the Baron and Baroness, like back in the day, were like murdered, because it was like told like, oh yeah, they're the Baron and the Baroness, but like everyone thought they were siblings. So they're like, this is wrong. You guys can't be doing this. And they were like doing these experiments
Right,
on people.
yeah.
So that's why they were eventually killed. But the
Right.
Baron survived. And that's basically what the vitamins are for. Like the vitamins are like almost like a fountain of youth situation,
Right,
where it's
exactly.
keeping him alive.
He's like 200 years old or something.
Yeah, and
it's like
he's
crazy, yeah.
keeping Hannah alive as well to like basically get her to the point.
And he has gross fake faces that he wears.
Yeah, he wears different faces.
And Lockhart sees them, and they're basically just like suspended in saline,
yeah,
like sterile saline, and you can it's actually, there are so many really beautifully shot artsy
again,
takes of this
cinematography,
place.
dude.
Yeah,
I think
it's
the
insane.
cinematography.
Yeah, it's so beautiful. It's a
Yeah.
beautiful movie. It is. Basically, like they end up like he ends up beating up everybody and like getting through it and like rescuing Hannah,
and they take her bike down, and like his bosses are there. Like, of course, last minute they like get there, like,
Yeah, they're like, all right, let's find
and they're
out
like,
what's going
"Meh,
on."
even though the building's burning down, we're like, well, meh." And he's like, no, I'm good. Like, I'm not going back. He's like, get in the car. And he's like, nah, man, I'm not. And then he's like, I'm much better now. And then he like, it's super kind of creepy. And then he bikes away. Party's right there.
I know, he's my best.
He's biking, and then he bikes away with Hannah, and the movie cuts down to black. And that's it. Now, that being said, the movie I thought was entertaining. It was a slow burn, but worth it. I don't like slow burn stimuli, but that movie was entertaining. It had a lot of Shutter Island vibes.
Yeah.
It really reminded me of the book Thunderball, a James Bond book, in the beginning of the
Okay.
book, because it had a lot of vibes with that for me. Because in the beginning of Thunderball, the book, and in the movie, I don't remember. I think the movie is the same. Exactly.
Fake fan.
No, I'm pretty sure it is. But basically, like, Bond is injured, battered from like past missions. He's got like a bulging disc and all these like weird things. So they send him to a real sanatorium, like spa.
crazy.
You know what I mean? So like it's like an MI6 one. And he again,
Cooler.
there's a bad guy that goes there as a patient that works for Spectre. And he like locks James Bond in like this like rack machine, and like he gets hurt, and like, you know, but again he's in one of those like sauna chambers, and they like all and James Bond traps him in that, and eventually that's how he dies. It's like a crazy, but it all reminds me of the same thing. And I was like, yeah, there's like those machines that, because they were old and they were just trying to make something that was worked, you know.
Yeah.
So they're not like pretty machines. They're very like industrial. They're very dangerous looking.
They look like pressure cookers,
Yeah,
dude.
like they look exactly like that. They all look like torture devices, even though they're not. So it's like, yeah. So there's this ominous aspect about everything like that. It just makes, I think, most people really uncomfortable. Like it's just not a comfy thing, you know. So I do like the movie. I thought the cinematography was great. I thought it was a beautiful movie. I thought that they used like color palette was really cool. It
very
was
muted, very cool tone,
it
and
was
just
really
so
cool.
creepy and good. It was like a beautiful movie. I'm very happy we got to watch it.
Yeah, and I thought the premise was good. Fountain of Youth, like, of course, like that's
a cool,
big
like
thing,
twisted version of the Fountain of Youth. It was really nice. Of course, like really successful body horror, really successful practical effects. Like some of like you literally, not to like, you know, blow this out of proportion. The two effects that I thought were insane. They drill a hole through Lockhart's front tooth, and you are watching it, no cuts, the entire time.
Yeah, and it's just brutal.
And it's so well done.
It is, yeah.
The other one, like we talked about, the tube that goes down his throat.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about
He's
that.
literally laying there. They put like a thing over his mouth to hold his mouth open. They put the tube in, and you see it. Let me get my microwave out of the way. I can't do this.
see
You
it
literally see it go down,
bulge
his throat.
through his
bulge through his
esophagus.
throat.
Yeah.
So gross.
It's very, very unsettling.
So
Yeah.
well done. Too.
You can feel it in your throat.
Oh,
when you watch it.
100%.
You're like, oh.
Both of us were like, oh, jeez. We
Yeah.
had to look away. It was intense.
It's just, that's very disturbing in a cool way. To me.
very
Yeah.
much so.
You know, I got to hit you at that last PQ.
Hit me with the
of that
PQ.
day. And I'm going to ask you one philosophical question because it came to me now,
have
and I
to.
have to ask you now because I'm curious.
It's as we do.
Okay.
Hey, go ahead.
So the first is PQ. It's light. It's light because we're talking about Fountain of Youth right now. Mm-hmm. What is the longest living person ever in the world? Are we ready for this?
Okay, so I have an issue with this already
Go ahead.
because I can see those numbers and they're not biblically accurate, but continue.
Okay, modern person.
Okay, better.
Okay. A, 108 years old. B, 112 years old. C, 118 years old. And D, 122 years old.
So I think 122 is just astronomical.
Okay.
I think 108, like, way too easy.
Yeah.
I'm kind of torn between 112 and 118. I'm going to go with 118. I think that's very, very respectable.
You think 118.
I'm thinking 118.
Do you think it's a man or a woman?
I think it's a woman.
Yeah. Women would live longer for sure.
For
right?
sure.
Yeah.
Am I correct? Am I so smart?
No.
What the hell? Is it 112 or 122?
It's 122.
Disgusting.
Jeanne Calment, a French woman who lived
French.
from 1875 to 1997, Her age, her technical age, is 122 years and 164 days old.
Fake news.
Oldest person who has ever lived. Yeah, that's what I'm just saying. That's pretty intense.
I'm gonna
That's pretty
respond to
intense.
that. I'm gonna respond to that with this. Give me one moment here.
Christe.
Not Jesus.
Okay, good. Good for you. They call him.
Yeah. There's a man named Methuselah in the Bible. According to the Hebrew Bible, Methuselah lived to be 969 years old.
That's nothing, dude.
What a baby, dude.
Wait a second. There's 3 different ways that people could interpret this. Solar years. Methuselah's age can be interpreted as 969 solar years. Lunar months. Methuselah's age could be a mistranslation of 969 lunar months, which would range from about 78 to almost 97 years. Or it's a myth. Methuselah's age could be a myth to create the impression of a distant past between Adam and Noah.
Fooled.
I would love to read the original Hebrew text of that passage to actually figure it out, because we still have access to the original Hebrew texts of the Bible. So
Let's go to the library.
I could literally just, if it wasn't the
No, it'd be
middle
cooler
of the
to the library.
effing night, I could call my pastor and
Yeah, you're
ask
right.
him.
Let's call him right now. Let's get him on the phone. Ready?
I don't think so.
All right.
I wonder how he would react.
He'd be nice because he has to be. It's
He
his
wouldn't be
job.
nice.
We pay
he
his
would probably
salary.
he would probably answer the phone and he'd be like, "Dude." I'd be like, "What up, Jake?" He would. I've never talked like that to my pastor
Jacob.
before. You should hang out with Jacob.
Jacob.
Yeah, no, that's exactly what he'd do. I'm gonna ask him tomorrow when it's like normal people time.
Yeah,
I'm gonna
shoot him a
What would you
text.
do if I
Shoot
called
him
you
a
at
little quick
11:30?
text.
I kind of want to text him, but I don't know if he's like a normal millennial and has his phone on him right now. I'm not going to. I'll talk to him tomorrow.
Philosophical question to end the night.
My favorite.
If we found real technology that was a fountain of youth,
Real fountain of youth.
as a religious person, do you think that that is playing God? Do you think that people should be able to live for as long as they want? Is it morally okay?
That's tough. I like how you're forming this question. I think I am supposed to live when I'm supposed to live, and I'm supposed to die when I'm supposed to die.
Are you a do not resuscitate person? Because that's
Me, resuscitate me. It depends.
Yeah.
Like if I've been like in the hospital for months or years,
You're, like,
and
brain
like
dead.
it's done.
Yeah.
Well, not brain dead, but like at the
Oh.
point where I'm like, listen, like I'm going through it. My body's giving up.
Yeah.
DNR, dude. Like
Yeah,
I
okay,
can't.
I
I
see.
can't keep doing this.
Yeah.
If I go to the hospital today,
Yeah.
resuscitate
Sure.
my
No,
big ass.
for
Yeah,
sure.
no, bring
you
me
get
back.
shot in a drive-by.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get that. Yeah.
bring me back.
Yeah. Hail of gunfire.
Hail of gunfire.
50 Cent can do it. You could do it for sure, dude.
Yeah, dude.
He's a baby.
I've got so much on 50.
Yeah, 15.
15 cent. No, I think, I mean, if we're really going to be philosophical about it, I'm supposed to live how I'm supposed to live. I'm supposed to die how I'm supposed to die.
Yeah.
So if that technology was presented to me, it's already in my plan. It's already in my life.
Yeah.
If I can use that to further the will of the Lord, I'm going to do it.
Okay.
But I generally don't want to be here for longer.
Because you could also say that like that technology existed because of him.
Yeah.
If you're religious, and then you could use it.
It's
you could
tough.
spin it. That's why I was wondering what you would say, because you could justify it really
Yeah.
either way, and it would be.
Well, it could
okay.
also be spun
Yeah.
like Mark of the Beast type shit. Like it's like,
Sure.
oh, you guys are,
Yeah.
you're meddling with things that you really shouldn't be meddling with.
Sure.
Generally, something like that. Like I'm trying to be a healthier person,
Right.
But that's just to preserve and respect the life that God gave me.
Yeah.
Not to like make it unnaturally long.
Sure. Okay.
Do I often? I'm listening to all the Twilight books again, in Audible.com.
Yeah.
And they talk
We're
about
really limited on time here, so if you.
so to deep dive into it. They talk a lot about like eternal souls and like living forever, and like
Sure.
when you're a vampire in that realm, you basically live forever. The only thing your body needs to continue is blood,
Right.
And you can live forever, like hundreds of thousands of years, like
Yeah.
no problem,
Right.
There are two vampires that end up like sitting still for a millennium, which is 1,000 years.
Yeah.
And they mentioned like they didn't even notice that they started to petrify, like their bodies stopped working because they just get like everything brought to them. So I think in something like that, like, yeah, I'm not trying to live forever, dude. Like, I'm good on that. Like,
Yeah.
I'm here for what I'm supposed to be here for, and then I'm done.
Okay.
How about you? Would you live forever?
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, you are
know
really
that
into
I'm
that.
100%.
You're so into
I'm
that.
100% fine with it, and I'm okay. I would 100% be a vampire. That would not be a. Now, I respect what you're saying too,
Yeah.
though.
Yeah.
Do I think that Carlos and Nana should be able to have that? 100%. I think that they should actually. I think, in fact, I think it should be mandatory that your pet should have a fountain of youth, and they should stay like 3 years old.
I was
like, you know what I mean?
talking-
Like that would be great.
I was talking to a client today, and we were talking, and Chase and I always have this joke where we're like, oh, thank God they're that specific breed that lived till like they're 70 or 80.
Yeah, right.
Like, we always do that. Like, they're the breed that never dies.
Yeah.
So I like made that joke to my client, and she like almost took me seriously today because I was like, I'm really hoping that Frankie's going to be that one rare breed that lives till like 70 and we can both pass on at the same time. And she like looked at me, and I was like, but unfortunately, that's not the case. Like,
You're like, get
duh.
off it, get off it, get off it.
But yeah, dude, Frankie's 5 years old. Can you believe
Yeah,
that?
she's a sweet.
She's
petite
born in
cat. She's a small
2018.
kitty.
April 1st, 2018.
She's a sweet pea.
No. April 1st, 2019.
Yeah, she's a good kitty.
I can't do math.
She's a good kitty.
I don't know my fruits.
What are we watching next?
Why
man?
don't you tell us?
I forgot.
Maybe it's on your phone. Where? Oh my God, I'm so sick of you.
Wait, I can do it. I can do it now. I know.
Okay, do it.
Let me look
I'm just
at
going to
it.
prepare
Look
for
at-
when you fail.
Let me hold her.
Let me hold her. Raphael! We really need to do that movie.
I have 10 text messages from a group chat that I'm not a part of that I don't care about. Probably.
I was going to say, what group?
let me
It's not my
see.
group chat.
Oh, well,
Ooh,
then
I got to
something that
make
care about.
water. Where is
Water?
it? Found it.
Oh wait.
For sure.
No.
Did you find it yet?
Yeah, dude.
The camera is going to die.
All right, go ahead, do it.
Okay, so we
See
just
how he
watched.
treats me, everyone.
We just watched Cure for Wellness. Next week, the episode is on the movie The Perfect Host.
Yes, I'm so excited for that. Is that on anything?
Let me check. That's what we were
Yeah,
supposed to update
that's
our list
right.
with
Yeah,
too,
yeah, yeah.
to see which ones are streaming.
That's a great
Let me
movie.
look on
So-
IMDb.
So while he's checking, though, The Perfect Host is a really good movie. It's a fly under the radar movie. It's your really standard
it.
thriller, and it's really, really,
Her?
really good. Yes.
Okay.
It's don't read anything about it.
I won't.
And I'm not going to tell anyone about it because you should watch it. It's fantastic. How many stars did it get?
I'm gonna pee my pants. I don't know. 6.7 out of 10.
Yeah.
For a horror movie, that's
Yeah,
great.
That's really good. Yeah.
Oh, thank God it's an hour and 33 minutes.
Yeah. Cool hour 30. It's good. And it's great.
It's streaming on Max and Roku.
There. You have no excuse. Roku's free.
Go watch it. Only if you have a Roku
Yeah.
device.
Yeah. Well, I'm just saying. If you don't have Max, then you're poor. Are you some kind of poor girl? Are you using Ray-Bans or something?
Stop it.
Anyways, check out The Cure for Wellness. It was a good movie. It's a beautiful movie. It's definitely worth it if you've got the time to spare. And if not, break it up into 2. I actually kind of enjoyed it that way because I could retain
It
it
was so
better.
helpful.
Yeah.
We could retain it
Yeah.
better. We could
I
kind
felt
of like
refreshed.
reset and kind of figure it out.
Yeah.
And then we had time
It
to
was
like
totally
figure
good.
out what we thought was going to happen.
Yeah.
That's great.
But yeah, everybody enjoy your week. We'll catch up with you next week with The Perfect Host. Ben's never seen that movie. I'm excited for him
Like
to see
every single movie.
that.
But then the week
watched it,
after
she
that.
really liked it.
Oh, she's watched it?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I'm
Yeah.
excited. The week after that, we're watching a movie that I've seen in theaters multiple times that Chase has never seen. So I'm
Oh.
really excited about that.
I'm excited.
I think I might just go buy it
If
this
it ever
weekend.
comes at all.
I think I'm going to buy it
We'll
this
see.
weekend.
I hope it comes tomorrow. We'll see. All right. Anyways, good morning, good night, good afternoon. Thank you for listening and supporting us. Like and subscribe. We're on YouTube. We're on Apple Music. We're on Spotify.
Apple
we're on
Podcasts.
Don't Correct Me Ever Again.
Well, then speak good.
And yeah, just like thank you for supporting us, and we'll see you guys soon.
Monetarily.
Yeah.
All right, that's it. I'm going to bed now. Bye-bye.